Welcome back, everybody. This Week in America on the Blue Funk Broadcasting Radio Network. Great to have you with us on the program. As mentioned, our special guest is David Meine. He's a certified hypnotherapist specializing in weight loss, the creator of the auto-hypnotherapy program, Brain Training for Effective Weight Loss. He's the co-author of Ideal Shape for Life and the author of the book we'll be talking about in the program today, Think, Use Your Mind to Shrink Your Waistline. David, welcome to the program. Great to have you with us.
Well, thank you for having me on your show.
Love the book. A lot of interesting things to talk about during the course of the program. The website for the book is very simple, thinkthinbook.com. Information at our website as well. And basically, and I guess this is the place to start. You talk in the book about it's not just the body that's out of shape, it's your mind too. Let's talk about that and how important the mind is in actually trying to lose weight and get into shape.
Well, perhaps I could start off by telling you about a conversation I had with my foster dad about 10 years ago. My wife and I were sitting with Tom on his back porch up in the mountains of Colorado, and we were having a conversation, and it drifted to the frustrating conversation about dieting that kept repeating itself so often. I mean, Rick, how about since 1974? And at 400 pounds, he had tried almost every diet out there with no lasting success. This time, though, he made an interesting comment. He said, I bet over my lifetime I have gained and lost 1,000 pounds. At that moment, my wife and I looked at each other and knew it was time. We had to do something to help him. And within a couple of months, working with experts, we came up with a unique weight loss plan that included using something that every living human being possesses, a brain. But more importantly, how to harness the power of the brain. It helped my dad lose 150 pounds in a year, improved his enjoyment of life, and more importantly, he kept the weight off. And that's how this book, Think, Use Your Mind to Shrink Your Waistline, was created.
You know, it's interesting you talk about the first thing we probably should do is visualize ourselves in a swimsuit. And for many people, that just really scares us. And you're saying that's really a good place to start it.
Well, and let's talk for a moment about one of my people I worked with, Betty. And it's interesting because she had 5 weeks to lose 30 pounds. And she had no idea how to do it. And nothing, I mean, like nothing she ever tried worked. And my first question to her was, why the rush? Why so fast? And she said, I'm going on vacation and I'll be wearing a bikini in front of family and strangers and I can't go looking like this. My next question, I asked her what she was going to change in her lifestyle to lose that much weight. And she rattled off a list of 8 things she was going to do to lose the 30 pounds. And she said that the reason she called is she wanted to try weight loss hypnosis as part of that process. And then I asked Betty how many diets she'd been on in over her lifetime. And she said probably a dozen. And then I asked her how long she'd been 30 pounds overweight. And she replied, 4 to 5 years. And finally, I asked her to close her eyes and tell me if she could visualize herself wearing a bikini, looking the way that she wanted to look. She started crying. She teared up and I could hear the emotions. And after a long pause, Rick, I heard her say, no. And then I said to her in the kindest way that I could muster up, that your body will not change unless you truly change your mindset at the subconscious level. And her response was, how do I do that? And I said, weight loss begins and ends in the mind. And she said that she had never thought about it that way before. And then we began, and her first step was learning how to visualize actually achieving her goal. And Rick, guess where Betty's mindset was 5 weeks later?
I can see a good result here.
And you have to set a goal in your mind. But if your mind does not know what the goal looks like, you end up sitting at home wishing you were out on the beach in a bikini. And so because I got her to see that and visualize it, she was able to create what she wanted.
Well, you called yourself a personal brain trainer. How difficult is it to train the brain to get us to like, okay, I'm going to think about what I'm going to look like in 5 weeks and make it so the brain actually leads that process?
Well, the reason I called myself a personal brain trainer is I realized while I was researching the brain since 1999 and started looking at what behaviors are holding me personally and my dad and other people back from creating their ideal shape. And one thing I want to just point out right here, Rick, is that our program's not about losing weight. It's about picking a size pant, a size shirt, and for women, a size dress that would be the ideal shape goal. So for me, I wanted to be a size 34 waist. I wanted to wear a large shirt instead of wearing a double XL shirt, and I wore pants, and I held myself at 36-inch with a belt that was snug. I couldn't see my belt. I couldn't see my shoes. And so the key is that's where we start. And then the next step is the only way you can change the brain is that you've got to do something every day for 28 days. All the athletes know that. People in business, anybody that's successful knows that they have to create a healthy behavior, and it takes a period of time doing it over and over. And so what I did is I figured out these 10 behaviors that were holding people back, and then I created an audio CD series, which your viewers can go online at thinkthinbook.com, and there's some free downloads where they can listen to a CD on a particular behavior every day, and it will start to change at the subconscious level that you really want to change your body, and you're going to change your body by changing this behavior. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. The guest on the program is David Meine. David's book is called Think, Use Your Mind to Shrink Your Waistline. The website is thinkthinbook.com. In fact, part one of the book is mind, part two is the body. So when you start the book, you're putting your mind ahead of your body to get the whole process started.
That's correct.
And it's interesting you mentioned the 28 days and breaking a behavior basically one at a time. Is that where a lot of us get into trouble because we sort of we have really no goal in mind? We try to break all the behaviors randomly or sometimes even at the same time.
Well, most people when they read the book will realize that they're not on most of these behaviors. They're not even thinking or working on those. In fact, let me just talk about a current client I have. His name's Kevin. He's 39 years old, and he lives in Washington State. And he contacted me when he had ballooned to about 382 pounds. And he's been battling obesity for 15 years. He has 2 young girls, and he's tired of being limited in what he can do with them. And he said, I can't even walk around the block. And his ideal body shape goal is 200 pounds. But after his mom passed away, it was very hard for him. And so he put 220 pounds on that got him to 382. And then what else happened is he became disabled because of obesity, and then he got diagnosed with epilepsy. And the problem is Kevin described himself as being obese and disabled. And I said that you have to overcome this barrier by letting go of the old 382-pound Kevin in your subconscious mind. And he asked, well, how do I do that? And I said, you've trained your brain for 15 years to be obese, and you have to retrain your brain for the new healthy Kevin. So for him, his first step was learning how to focus on creating one new healthy behavior every 28 days. So from this last May of 2012 to January 2013, he's down to 313 pounds and is still shedding the pounds. And he's moving toward his goal with fewer obstacles because he's letting the old Kevin go and now believes he's creating the new permanent Kevin that's 200 pounds.
Do we have a problem with unrealistic expectations? So many times people start something, maybe they don't see the results they think they should in that period of time, or they talk to somebody else who had results a little bit quicker. Are we too quick to give up because we don't meet those expectations?
Well, I have a principle that I talk about in the book that's called diet chaos. And what happens is when people decide they want to get healthy or get fit or lose some weight, what happens is they all of a sudden they try to, they look at the diets, they pick one, and then there's all these changes that they have to make. And then they're going to exercise, and they're going to go get a detox, and they're going to take a supplement. And so what happens is they actually just get overwhelmed with all this diet chaos, and then they end up they give up. So Let me talk about my own daughter for a second and kind of give you an
Sure.
example. Tash is 30 years old, living in Utah, and for 2 years, she's been trying to lose 40 pounds with no success. And since I was her dad, what does a dad know? And as soon as the book was published, I gave her a copy of the book, not really expecting her to read it. What was interesting is the following Sunday afternoon, I got a call from her. Dad, do you have a minute? I said, sure, what's up, Tash? And she blurted out that she'd just finished reading the Think book and it made her cry. When my daughters get emotional, I'm at a loss for words. I'm afraid to say the wrong thing, especially about the subject, weight loss. So Tash, sensing my awkwardness, said that when she got into the second chapter about weight loss sabotage, tears started flowing down her face, and then a light bulb came on, and she now understood the key to losing 40 pounds. And her first step was learning how to visualize using a coping skill or a tool to stop weight loss sabotage. And over the course of 9 weeks, she lost the first 30 pounds. And what's interesting is that for 2 years, she tried to diet and all she did was gain weight each time without really understanding why. So for her now, that's a huge burden lift off her body and especially her brain. And that's sabotage from ourself and others. That's what creates this diet chaos. And sometimes, like you said, Rick, they get frustrated and give up too soon. But I don't know if you're aware of the statistics, but typically 95% of all people that go on a diet fail. And if they do lose some weight, they typically put it right back on.
David Meine is our guest on This Week in America, our website, thisweekinamerica.us. David's book is Think, Use Your Mind to Shrink Your Waistline. Information that's available at Amazon, available at his website, thinkthinbook.com. Also, you go to our website, thisweekinamerica.us, and log on and link on to David and get information on the book. A lot of free information on there as well. I want to talk about some of the 10 bad behaviors that prevent us from losing weight and keeping it off, because if we understand those, some are easily correctable or appear to be easily correctable, and some you wouldn't even think about. One that I know is a problem that you dealt with is not getting a good night's sleep. And we think, okay, I'm not really, because I'm not sleeping well, why does that mean I've got a weight problem?
Well, as you read the book, you'll become aware of how to deal with the real issues, those beyond what they appear to be. And so as you bridge from being your worst enemy to becoming your best friend, your example about sleep is right, spot on, because, let's talk about Courtney, who's 38 years old and lives in San Antonio, Texas. At our first meeting, she said her goal was to go from a size 14 dress to a size 6. And she shared with me that for the past 4 years, she had not been able to lose weight on any diet that she tried. And I had her fill out client paperwork, and then I looked at the large amount of fat on her stomach. And you're probably going, now, how does fat on the stomach have anything to do with sleep? But it's because of the fat, it led me to ask her how much sleep she was getting a night. She stated that she was only getting 2 hours of sleep a night, and that was with Ambien. And in addition, during the day, she described to me her massive appetite that she was struggling with. And so I stated to Courtney that there's no way she was going to lose weight unless we fixed her sleeping problem. And the first step was getting her to understand how she trained her brain to only get 2 hours of sleep per night with medication. And she said that she had no clue that a lack of sleep was fueling her large appetite during the day. So the great thing is now she's down from a size 12 to a size 6. The belly fat is gone. Her self-esteem has gone up, and she looks amazing. And the thing that's interesting about sleep, Rick, is if we don't go to sleep fast enough, deep enough, long enough, the average person needs about 7 to 8 hours of sleep. What happens is they don't release two hormones, one being leptin, the other one ghrelin, and those are what regulate our appetite. So if you don't sleep well or enough sleep, you're burning up more energy at night. So when you get up in the morning, your body needs more food, and so it just turns on that appetite that you're hungry, and you get on this vicious cycle. And so in her case, when I got her to realize Then she was willing to do the work. And now she sleeps 7 to 8 hours every night, and she looks amazing.
That's one of the 10 behaviors that cause us problems. I got 30 seconds left in the program. I'm going to end with how we started, not being able to see your future ideal body shape. Once again, it goes back to the mind and visualization and sort of having that mental image, that mental goal of where you want to be.
Exactly. And I do that on every behavior. I have created a very powerful visualization and image that they go through every day on a particular behavior, and then at the subconscious level, they'll change and it'll become permanent.
The book is called Think, Use Your Mind to Shrink Your Waistline. Our guest on the program has been David Meine. The book is available at Amazon, available, of course, at his website, which is thinkthinbook.com. You can go to our website, thisweekinamerica.us, and log on there and get information, link up with David, and get all the information. We will have David back on the program. An excellent program. Thank you so much, and I'm sure we've helped a lot of people today. You've helped a lot of people today, and helped me, too.
Thanks, Rick.
My pleasure. You're listening to This Week in America on the Blue Funk Broadcasting Radio Network.